Today I'm going to be making a new Moxon vise, and I wanted to make it out of some sort of hardwood, and these oak cabinet doors were the only thing I had enough of. So I started by cutting the doors into usable pieces, and then cut them into 6 3-inch strips. Next, I marked out where I wanted to drill the holes in each of my boards, and in one of the boards I drilled a set of 1.5-inch holes, and then in the other 5 boards I drilled a set of 1/2-inch holes. Now for one of the boards, I marked out and chiseled out a set of mortises to hold a nut in place. And at this point, I had forgot I had to countersink 2 of my 1/2-inch hole boards to hold a washer. So I went back and used some plugs to center my bit as I drilled a countersink in 2 of my boards. Next, before I glue up all my pieces, I'm going to drill a hole and pin a nut into place about 1.5 inches from the end of each of my 2 sections of threaded rod. Also, before I glue up all my pieces, I used a card scraper to take off the finish from the cabinets. Hopefully now things will start to make sense and you can see how the pieces fit together. So I first glued up the back piece that doesn't move, and I sandwiched the piece with the nuts in the center with my 2 boards with the washer countersinks to keep the nuts from coming out of place. And I used a threaded rod to keep the holes aligned while the glue dried. Now for the front piece that does move, I glued the piece with the 1.5-inch hole in the middle, and before closing it up, I put in the threaded rods with the nuts pinned in place, and I glued up the other side. Then once the glue dried, I pinned another nut on the outside of each threaded rod on the movable piece. Now I tighten the two sides together so I could square up everything. Next, on the non-movable side, I needed to attach some tabs to connect my vise to my workbench. And even though they'll never be seen, I thought the best way to do that would be with some half-blind dovetails. I thought the whole thing looked too bulky, so I chamfered all the edges. I finished the whole thing with butcher block conditioner. I could have made some handles, but those wheel things people usually have on these don't look like they have enough leverage, and I wanted something I could just take on and off since on my last one the handles were always in the way, so I just used wrenches. And now I'm just attaching the vise to my bench.